Thank you for joining us today on the Broskiedoodles podcast. Your boy Kiko Flo, Kiko Cervantes, like always. I was making some hot dogs right now. I was selling in the streets. I came right here. I'm doing the podcast. We got your boy, Big John, DJ BJ in a building like always with his gold link. And that shit is real. No, he did not take it from the pawn shop. But no, that shit is real. And today I want to get to the subject real quick. I don't proof. You got to prove to these motherfuckers. I don't want to have you, waiting around to see what we're going to talk about. This is about Tiger Woods. This is a new documentary, Tiger.
AKA El Tigre.
Oh,
El Tigrazo.
Oh, shit. The DR is in the building. I mean,
you already know.
I'm going to tell you straight up how I feel about the documentary. I think Tiger is a fucking badass. He's a beast, a monster. I don't think he should apologize to anybody except his family. And I think everybody else gotta go suck a dick and fuck off. I mean, this guy's a fucking G.
Wow.
What do you think?
I mean, there's really a lot to unpack in this whole series, starting from his youth all the way to his when he was playing through a busted broken knee with no ACL. That takes a lot of character, a lot of courage, a lot of mental fortitude to be able to prevail even through the worst of situations and still keep going and still excel and be a 14-time 15-time PGA champion or something I don't know, or like a Masters champion. It was something ridiculous, like the amount of times that he won and all the different events that he won, and then all while this was happening, behind the scenes, that whole situation with him and his mistresses and his family, and I mean it's a lot. It's a lot for a person to go through, and then have the constant pressure of people on your back, the media, the public eye, and just people looking at you every single little move you make, and him still being able to achieve greatness. It's a lot for a person.
Do you think that? Because I found that to be extremely admirable. The fact that even with the bullshit that he was going through, and how lost he would have felt, right? Because in many aspects of life, he was still a kid, a child. He had not developed a lot of the social things that you would have at that stage in life. And he was still able to concentrate when he was in that pitch and just fuck it up and win. Do you think he should have apologized? In the documentary, they show this part where he publicly apologizes to his fans and shit. Do you think that was right?
I mean, was it right for him to apologize for him wanting to chase pussy and fuck mad bitches and shit? I mean, we can't use the word bitches because that's not nice, but
if we're not gonna use that word, it's because you personally feel like it's not the right word to talk about this women, but not because the word itself is something that's not allowed in the Broskiedoodles. In the Broskiedoodles, we allow all type of speech to be taking place, even the ones that we don't like. So the bitches, they
so the bitches, no, so him having all those
the
biddies
that he, we can say the biddies, he likes. The biddies, all these biddies that he was chasing.
And I feel like it was a part of his life where he was exploring himself, much like in the way that a young person or a teenager or an adolescent would have done in their time, but because he wasn't allowed to when he was young, he kind of manifested that at an older age, when he was already committed to a relationship, when he was already had kids or had a whole bunch of different life goals completed. He didn't have that part of his life. I want to say his whole phase. He never went through his whole phase before settling down and becoming a stand-up individual that people look up to. So Should he have apologized? No, because he doesn't have to apologize for being himself, like for being Tiger. Él es el tigre. He's going out there eating that fresh meat. Now, did he have to apologize to his wife? Of course, because she doesn't deserve that after her having his back through thick and thin and doing everything that they did together. If he really wanted to do that, and he knew that he wasn't capable of, differentiating between the two, then he should have called it off and then gone and done whatever he wants to do. But he doesn't deserve, like, the public didn't need for him to say I'm sorry, for the public to accept that, that he can do whatever he wants because he's Tiger.
I feel you. Now, quick thing, BJ, if you could check on your beautiful new headset, if you could try to lower the mic a bit, because I think it's over.
Lower the mic. Mm-hmm.
I think you're over peaking a bit, but yeah, just try to see if you could do that. One thing that I found, I feel what you're saying. Like, I think really the reason, and I think you mentioned this to me in previous conversations. The real reason for that apology must have been a marketing thing, right? Like, he needed to make face for the advertisement companies, and more than him really owing an apology to his fans, which we could argue that you could believe that. I don't believe that, but you could argue that. Really, is the companies like Nike and other advertisers and so sponsors, right? That kind of need something to show to justify continuing to sponsor him, right? Like, maybe they deeply don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, we'll continue to sponsor you, like, whatever. Like, but
Yeah,
in today's world and in that time, it wasn't as bad as today. But he still needed to do this, I believe, so that the companies that gave him money could have something to show and be like, no, he said he's sorry, so that's why we're gonna continue to give him money.
I mean, to me, the apology was definitely scripted. Like, it was written up by the company, and he just had to say it. Like, it didn't seem natural. Like, it didn't seem like he would naturally come out and say that. Somebody in his PR team told him, look, you need to go say something, because if not, you're gonna lose your sponsorship.
Do you think that's justifiable from the outside? Like, would you say, like, I get why he did that. Like, I would have done that too.
Mm-hmm.
Or what do you think?
I mean, let's see. Justifiable. I don't know if justifiable is the correct term, but I want to say appropriate for the climate at the time. Like, he needed to say something, but not because he like, not because the public deserved an explanation, but because like you said, the company deserved, or like the people. Okay, so the people that followed Tiger and bought Tiger's, equipment and all that stuff needed to hear him apologize, because otherwise they wouldn't want to back him up, or they wouldn't want to keep buying his equipment because he's a womanizer, or
no, I understand that. So would you say that? So you're saying, like, because to save the money income, you say one would have to do that.
Yes, I think you would have to do that.
I'm asking you, if you're Tiger, do you do that as well, or do you keep it real? You keep
it's
it
definitely
real.
A money move.
Buy a gold link like the one you have, and just be like, yo, fuck bitches, get money.
I mean, it's definitely a money move. It's definitely saving face. I need to keep this contract. I need to keep food on the table for my family and stuff. So
Right.
I need to say whatever they want me to say.
Right, and I think I'm not asking you to put you on the spot. I would do it too.
Yeah, I would do it too if I'm a multimillionaire. If you
have a Nike sponsorship that gives you over 100 million a year.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize. I did not have any sexual interactions with those women.
Sorry.
Now, in one thing that I noticed, and for some reason I thought that, like, big news or podcast, we're gonna talk about this. But nobody, I never heard anybody talk about this. And so we'll be the first podcast out there, So make it count. Did you see on the documentary in a little way they kind of outed Michael Jordan and was it Charles Barkley?
Yeah.
Like that, because they show you how like Tiger got involved in the whole high level escort in Las Vegas, and they show you how like and when I saw in the party, it was like an exclusive party, right? You see Michael Jordan, you see Charles Barkley, you kind of feel like it almost felt like there's gotta be like this clique, right, of like famous ass people that meet in these parties with these exclusive escorts. And even the escort said like, here nobody talks about anybody, like nothing gets out because it would hurt their own business, right? Like
right.
Of keeping. But isn't it funny how like you saw there like, oh yeah, like Michael Jordan parties,
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, they party, and you could see how it goes. It almost seems it almost seems, no, that was not the word, like it literally was that Tiger was kind of like the nerd there, and he didn't even know how, like even the guys were like, he's like, how do I do this? And they're like, you just say I'm Tiger Woods and that's it. So it was like, did you find that a bit funny that they outed them like that?
Right, and that line was coming from Michael Jordan. He's like, he asked Michael Jordan, he's like, oh, what do I do? And he's like, oh, you just tell him that you're Tiger Woods.
Yeah, like I could relate to Tiger because it almost felt like Tiger would look at these women and they're like, and he almost would feel bad that his thing is like, oh, I'm this person. You know what I mean? Like I could put myself in his shoes and I would also feel uncomfortable. Like I don't know if I'll be good owning like if I'm famous, right? Owning that and being like, yeah, that's who I am. Let's fuck type shit. Like it's a bit strong, coming in strong.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're showing that you have confidence in yourself because of who you are and the status that you've achieved. And if they like it, great. If not, then you move on to the next one that will like it. What are you there to do? You're not there to mingle and make friends and stuff like that.
You could play some Monopoly,
Yeah, I mean, you could. Some strip Monopoly.
they're playing Monopoly, right? They're playing Monopoly.
Some strip Monopoly for sure.
Now, he could have kept going with this high-level escorts forever. He could have kept the game going, his wife, his family, and then he would go every once in a while to Las Vegas because he needed to do marketing for his golf, things. And,
of course.
And he would, bang 10 blonde chicks in Las Vegas. Now, he could have done this just like the others that we spoke about probably kept doing this and are still doing this, right? Which is, hey, by the way, totally fine. I mean, not only legal, but perfectly fine if you're a single guy or whatever.
Right.
And also, I'm not even gonna, I don't know if it's legal to do that if you're married, but I don't know if there's a law against it precisely.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Am I being stupid? Like I'm being retarded right now? Like by not. Adultery, is that like an actual crime?
It's not a crime, but it's enough for you to get a divorce. Like you're not gonna go to jail for it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But she can use it as a defense in court for
right.
divorce.
Okay. So what? If you're not married, then there's not even like a moral thing against it.
No, it's
but
perfectly
even if you're
reasonable
married,
to do that.
Yeah. So I'm not, like sort of talking shit about that or knocking on it. But he could have kept. Like if you want to be the villain here and think about like how could you have kept on cheating on your wife and everything pretty, he could have done it. He had enough money where he was going to escorts that would definitely not tell because they're getting paid good enough for this. He decided to have a sentimental attachment with these girls, and that's when shit goes wrong. Would you agree? That's my view.
Yes and no. The fact that he did make a sentimental attachment to the girl, kind of like it caused them to come out once the shit hit the fan. But the biggest issue I see here was the constant um vigilance of the paparazzi of the people. Like, not now, I can't look at men's fitness the same anymore, because now I'm like, because the company, the National Enquirer, told him, like, look, when they first caught him, they showed him some pictures, and they're like, look, what are you gonna do about this? This is gonna print tomorrow. And he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna cover it up and pay you whatever just to not do that. And they're like, no, no, just show up on Men's Fitness on the front cover, and we're good. So then like he comes out on Men's Fitness. I'm like, does everybody on Men's Fitness have like a like an issue where they get caught and then they're like, oh, now I have to be on Men's Fitness, like that.
Right.
Um, that being said, had nobody ever been following him and photographed him doing whatever he's doing and have proof, would he have to have ever owned up?
Yeah, but yo, he did. He was slipping. Like, remember that everything, he gets caught because he goes to do that, if I'm not wrong, the Open in Australia, and he takes his main bitch,
Right,
and his wife is there too.
right.
He has the other girl at another hotel. And I mean, I watched a documentary a few weeks back. I was waiting for you to watch it. For people, if people are wondering why that would be, that I'm not fresh on it. But I almost think he even took her. She was there on the competition, so he was slipping.
I mean, I don't know
I
about
believe.
if she was there at the competition while he was there, but I do know that she was in the same hotel where he was staying at, and she actually went to the room. But once again, the only reason that they found out was because the National Enquirer sent somebody over to
Yeah, yeah, but
Australia
okay, dude. But what I'm saying
to
is,
follow him.
I mean, I guess. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, if instead of that,
Hmm.
I mean, I guess what you're saying is, even if it was just to go to some whorehouse in Australia, the Inquirer would have seen it anyways as well.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he was being too
I
wild,
mean,
especially knowing the amount of eyes they have on him. Even if you don't know there's a specifically piece of shit magazine trying to find dirt on you, you should
mhm.
know there's eyes on you. And you have
Right.
this girl on your hotel. Like, wait till you get back home, then you go to Las Vegas, and then you go to these crazy parties and fuck. Like, I mean, I guess
Mhm.
I don't understand the levels of temptation
Uh
that
huh.
this.
You're not at that level yet, monetarily wise.
Right. But he almost felt like he said, like, "Oh, I need you here for me to play this game." Like, I find that. I mean, let's start by the fact that him cheating and getting involved in all this bullshit. That's the wrong thing that he did in the
Hmm.
to start
To,
off
to
with.
to start, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he shouldn't have done that. But what I'm saying is, if you did that to make this, to make whatever you're doing go right, if you want to be a cheater and make it successfully, like, let's think methodically here. I'm not saying cheat. I'm just saying, if you were going to, you might not want to attach yourself sentimentally to this woman, because
Uh
then it would allow you to continue to do it without any issues. So what I don't understand is why he did that. And I think you talked about this, and really we would say that the real issue here is not that he needed sex, but that he was looking for other sentimental things that he wasn't getting.
like a companionship. Yeah, definitely. Just the fact that they talked about, like I actually, like, as the documentary progressed, I felt really more sad than, like cheering him on, like, hey, yeah, he's getting all these girls and whatever. But it was more like, because the whole thing started with, like, oh, he had a very specific type, a blonde girl, college years, in that time frame, and easy to talk to, intelligent, things like that. He it reminded me of the fact that of his first girlfriend that he had, the back in when he was starting out, and much like how Nike wrote the letter for him for the press conference, I felt like his father wrote the letter for him to tell his girlfriend, we can't see each other because this is and that, whatever. And I mean, I don't think at the time the girl would have thought like to make him be with her just so she can have his money, right? I think she actually wanted to be with him, and he was a nice guy or whatever. But then that was like the crossroads where Tiger went from either being a really good golfer, excellent pro golfer, and not having any social skills or anybody to be around normally in a normal situation, versus not being a pro golfer, just being a regular golfer, maybe winning one or two champions, but then being with somebody that he loved and cherished, and that whole scenario, like having a normal life versus having this pro life, but fucked up on the inside, mentally and emotionally.
Do you
So
think?
I feel that when he was looking for those girls, it was a specific type because he was looking to try to emulate that relationship that he felt was real versus all the other
But
ones that he
but
had.
wasn't his wife, or but what you're trying to say is that because his wife had that look as well.
Right, but then why wouldn't he just, if he was getting everything that he needed from his wife, what forced him to go down the road of looking for sex or for companionship?
That's
Because
what a
if he was getting it from his
patriarchal
wife,
man would say, that she wasn't doing the right things for him. No, but
and
do you think that I guess what you're trying to say is that he was looking in these other women, the sentimental thing that he got from the first girl that he wasn't getting from his wife,
like maybe she was nice to him, maybe she did treat him with respect, and and loved him, and
and
and did
she's the
whatever
victim here too as well. She I don't.
oh, definitely, yeah. Like
I mean, he's a
maybe
victim
she
as
maybe
well
she
of other things, but I'm saying she's the bad one. I mean, she's the one that got hurt here by him.
I would say she's the one that got hurt the most
Yeah.
out of all the people. Definitely. And then not only that, but you also have this history of his father doing these kind of things in front of him when he was young. So I'm not gonna say that because of him seeing his dad do it, that it was okay for him to do it, but the fact that he saw it,
I will say
um,
that. I will go ahead and say that because I think that just as much as he learned from his dad all the good things about golf and perseverance and all the things that allowed him to reach the success that he had, he also absorbed everything else that his dad taught him even unconsciously. And while he was hitting golf balls, the dad would go in the RV and do his thing.
so would you say that we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of our parents?
Animals, we are we and especially primates and humans, we go by repetition. When kids are growing up, they learn by watching others do, and these are things that are engraved in your head. It's sort of like when they say that people that abuse others were abused.
Uh-huh. There's a very big indicator of that, yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the only factor, but yeah,
I mean,
and I
you
would
have to
even.
have learned that from somewhere. You're not born with the ability to abuse somebody.
And I actually think that in Tiger's situation, not only did he end up doing this because he saw it from his father, but he also knew that that his father doing that hurt his mom. So I bet it was a very sweet and sour experience for him. It wasn't like, oh, I'm fucking this bitch. It's not like he did it and then he was like, oh, he probably felt horrible about it. I would think because he knew that what he was doing is exactly what his dad did, which he hated from his dad, which is
Right.
why he didn't speak to his dad for like many tournaments, right, up to his father's death.
Hmm.
So, I know that he fucked up, but to me, it was hard for me to find. It was hard for me to find him or to feel like he was a piece of shit. Like I just felt sad for him. I mean, I also felt inspired by him in the scheme of the game, which I want to get
Right.
into. We're getting into the TMC shit, but I do want to get
I'm, a,
into the.
I'm about to shed a tear. Don't do this to me right now, bro.
But fuck. Well, where was I going with my train of thought? That yeah, that I think that he, his dad influence him in every way, not only in the good ways but also in the negative ones. And like you said, his wife is the one that suffered the most because imagine also having those eyes on you, like that's gotta be shitty, like
Right.
and before we leave this topic of the more drama part. Dude, I hated the motherfucker they show in the documentary that's part of the magazine. What's the magazine? Is
The National Enquirer. Oh my God, I wanted him to die.
the fucking piece of shit. He's like, everyone has secrets and we're gonna find them.
But that also explores a different part of, like, human beings. Like, they enjoy. I don't know if they enjoy more seeing people rise to the top, or seeing how hard they fall from the top once they get there. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's crazy, right? And you see this in social media now where like as soon as someone posts something, there's a bunch of people just hating on it, and it's sort of like it makes them feel good. And this magazines or social media things like the National Enquirer, they're just looking for the dirtiest shit, right? Like, dude, like following them and like filming them in like no love.
'Cause people like that shit. People like the dirty, like the raunchy stuff, like the all the secrets. You know?
Yeah, like that fucking gossip shit is so disgusting. I mean, every one of us has a little bit of that, but
Hashtag toxic.
yeah, it's super toxic. Moving on to the more, I think, important parts of the documentary and the ones that
Hmm.
really hit me is the inspirational part. I Do you think that unfortunately to get to Tiger level, you have to have an upbringing as harsh as the one he did, in the sense of like how hard his dad was on him, you know? Like, do you think it's impossible to reach those levels unless you're doing the thing 16 hours a day since you're fucking 3 years old?
I mean, when I saw this documentary, when I started seeing it, I got to like halfway, and I'm like, wow, this is very close to the Michael Jackson story, you know?
Mm.
Like I feel like the abuse, whether it be emotional, physical, or like different ways of a child being abused from an early age, forces them to have to, excel at a like like exceedingly alarming rate in order for them to escape it. Like they have to be outstanding in everything that they do, because one aspect in their life is really shitty. So like, kind of like how do you make diamonds? You have to apply a lot of pressure and heat to carbon to make them form into diamonds. So kind of like you have to apply a lot of pressure and heat, I mean, theoretically or metaphorically, to children at a young age, to either gonna bust and break, and they're gonna be broken human beings for the rest of their life, or they'll excel to greatness, but they'll still slightly be broken on the inside because they missed out on some sort of basic need that they could have had in their childhood, but they couldn't, or they didn't because they weren't allowed because of the sport or the talent or the music or whatever. And then it gets to the point where they reach a crossroad where either they go and live a normal life, or they do this great thing, but then they have to give up on normal life. So that's really the question. Would you want your kid to have fame and money at the cost of having a normal life.
And when you say normal life, like having
Like
a wife,
be, be
kid.
being able to go to like a store to buy something and not have to be accosted by 17, 20 camera people, not being able to get in your car without a camera guy being on top of you, like, oh, what did you do last night? What are you wearing? What did you do? Who are you with last night? Who's this? Who's that? Like constantly tabloids producing, like sometimes even if they're fictional, but or if they're not, if they're fake, but producing random stories just to mess with you. Like then you got columnists and editors and people that are like just analyzing pictures of you and commenting about, oh, is this guy, he's getting fat or he's getting skinny, or does he have a drug problem because he's getting skinny? Is he overeating? Is he going through some sort of relationship problem because he's getting fat? Like so, like all that, like all those speculations that they go and like even though they could be fake or are not real or fabricated, that still affects the day to day of that person's life.
Do
You
you
know?
think? It just came to my mind. Do you think that you just mentioned like you either bust or you shine, right? But you're still broken. Like what's happening
Right.
with Britney Spears, or has been happening. Like
Uh huh.
she was shining, and then at one point she busted, and
Hmm.
since then she's been on a spiral. Her parents control her money, which is a bit unfair.
Hmm.
And I mean, she's like in a really sad situation. And she's somebody that was like from very child, from just pushed to do like this and that by her parents and shit. And she became successful, but again, you could sort of say that because of that she missed out on like acquiring basic human skills to like function in life. Would you relate those things, or am I just a little bit hi there, buddy?
Hi there. I totally agree. Like I think it has to do with pretty much any case of extreme talent that that it was brought on by the parents, um like pressure and pushing, and like if it's driven by the parents, somewhere along the lines they're not gonna get something that they want or need to not jeopardize their future of singing, dancing, um, movies, or um, music, or sports.
Yeah, and you could see like it's crazy, right? That there were things that the father taught him that later on came to matter, right? Like in golf, it's a very mental game. Like a lot of them
Hmm.
have same skills or close to the same skills, but it's your mind game in that moment, and doing the strike correctly, especially in courses that are complicated. And his dad had that thing where when he was gonna hit it, he would like move his keys and make sounds, and to the point where like one of the other golfers was like, "Hey, why are you doing that? Like that's fucked up." And he's like, "No, I'm like teaching him to not lose concentration with nothing." And you could see
Hmm.
that on the fucking moments where like you saw the magic happen.
Hmm.
He just fucking zoned in and nothing
Hmm.
else mattered, and he just fucking killed it, which I wanted to get to the greatness of what he is, and what not only what he was but what he is, because he's still playing. He
Hmm.
did have an accident recently, which I really hope that he'll be fine from,
Hmm.
and he'll continue to, because he could get the record with the most wins.
Right.
I believe he has 15 or 16, and the record is 19.
The record's 19. I thought it was 17.
No,
I mean, I could be wrong.
I think it's 18 or 19. But yeah, it's one of these guys like from back in the day.
Right.
But even though we don't play golf, I mean, we'll have a couple beers and go to Top Golf and do
Yeah.
our thing. I'll put them all in the green little. I have my little tricks, but we're not a golf guys, right? Yeah,
Uh huh.
we're not. So, but even then, I was able to fucking feel the thing when they showed you the images of him winning and the shots that he took and the beautiful fucking fields, right? Or it's not a field, the courses where they would play.
The pitches.
Um, did you also feel that like emotion of like, God damn, this guy's doing magic, even if we don't understand golf that much?
Right. I mean, I did feel like an aura was present when like he was on the field to the point where it would show like where he had to play against like opponents, and the opponent had to go first before him. You can see the fear or the terror that the opponent had just by being next to him. Like he didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to do anything. Just him them like oh shit, I have to play Tiger Woods now. Fuck, like I'm fucked. And they'd miss, and they'd like they mess up the shot, or they veer like to a certain direction simply by him, like his presence being there. You know.
Yeah.
That really spoke a lot about who he was, and then going back to the whole training about his dad, that I felt that training came more from his military side than from the golf side. The whole like not to get distracted. I can see that practice more in like in a military setting, because remember that he was like a Marine, and he
That's
specialized
true.
in bombs. So imagine how like nerve wracking it would have to be to be like tweaking or disarming a bomb, you know?
I didn't
So
even think of that. Like, that's so fucking relevant. The military background of the father definitely had to do with the type of teaching that he gave the kid, right? It was very military style.
the the military was more prominent than the golf. Like the golf was easy because it was just like the skills of like hitting the ball or whatever. But the military training is where it came in, where the dedication, the fortitude, like keep pushing no matter what. Like the fact that like the whole knee thing that he had, and he kept pushing. That was military. That had nothing to do with golf.
Yeah, and dude, I love the part. This is also where the creativity comes in, which is where I'm a bit more interested in. It's like he would always say like, "How are you golfing?" He's like, I'm getting better. I'm getting better." He's always getting better, and he's changed his shot, if I'm not mistaken, a couple times or more. So he creates new swings, and then he applies them. And I believe recently he was doing a different style. I mean, it also speaks of how beautiful the game of golf is. Like how complex it is.
Right.
And after I watched the documentary, I got hooked on this shit, and I started watching like modern championships. Like Masters,
Uh-huh.
and it's nothing like you would think it is. Like it's a lot of young guys, man. Like 20-year-olds. They're dressed like really nice, like the golf thing, but like really modern.
The golf gear. Uh-huh.
And dude, some of the motherfuckers hit it like baseball players, like. And so when I saw, and I think this was shown on the doc, when he's playing on the most recent one, he's playing with a lot of young guys. Imagine the pressure that you would feel if you were him. You're older, your knees is fucked. You have all these young guys, with big cocks just fucking swinging around here. And you still coming through and letting them know, like, hey, doggy, it's el papi, ¿sabe? Big papa in the house, like,
El tigre, el tiguerazo.
el tiguerazo, ¿sabes? Este cuarto es mío. Este cuarto es mío. So I thought that shit was so fire when he was like I don't know if you remember they showed one part where like it was like this hit where you needed to go over a lake. This was on the most recent one, and all the new kids couldn't do it, and he just went like, and just put that
Bro.
shit there, dog. That
Some,
fucking
some, sometimes it doesn't have to do with strength or with physicality. It has to do with technique and years of experience
and confidence.
and confidence.
It's such a confidence game. I have friends that play tennis. They still do, but like they could have. They were at some time when they were younger. They were really good, and they could have played at really high levels. They went to championships, but the 20s came around and they prefer to do weed, cocaine, and fucking beers. So but no, they tell me that at one point in tennis, the best players, like the first 1,000 players in the world, they all have pretty much the same technical skills, and the only thing that differs the winners is the mental game. It's like not fucking up and keeping your confidence. And golf is exactly that. Like when those games that you play only you one on one, it's really the like what happens when you like at team games, you have more margin for error because the fact that you have to so many people that play along it, there's a lot of margin of error. When you play one on one, those margins of errors are cut because you're the only one. You control everything, but because of that, the stakes are higher on any error you make, and a lot of it is a mental game. You miss one putt, you miss one thing, and then you start fucking up more. I see this happen with like if I'm playing video games and I'm doing a thing and I fuck up one fight, it almost makes me feel like, oh, I lost the whole battle. Like I can't come back from this.
Right.
I mean, look at me fucking comparing Tiger Woods to me playing Warcraft and shit. But,
shit, get the fuck out of here.
but I just found it incredible that he had that thing. And I believe now he has a new swing because he says, like at this age, how I am now, I can't be hitting that shit like it's a grand slam. Like, so he changed it so that he could do a swing that's less aggressive, more adapted to. And I think that's the beautiful thing about golf too. Like you could have young kids, and then you could also have old people playing, adapting their swing.
Right. I mean, it's very nice to see that like there's no age like restriction on golf. Like you could be any age and still play it. Obviously, the younger kid's gonna have more power, but he's gonna have the experience of a person who's been to the same pitch 20 years in a row. You already know that like you already know the pitch by the back of your hand, so you already know what's the best place to put the ball. Like what's the best place to to have the ball for the next shot, because you're not just shooting to shoot. You're not just hitting it to get it out of there. You're hitting it to set up to get a hole to get into that hole.
Yeah, that was another interesting part, right? That these courses are the same courses that he's been playing for 20 years plus. So just the fact that he's hit that ball so many times from different places, he already knows like, oh, from here, I've hit it many times from here. It's better to do it like this because over there I risk fucking it up. Like, it's just so much knowledge that the other ones don't have, right? And it's not like you can go play these courses on a weekend, right? Like, it's not like you could, hey, you play these courses on the championship and that's it,
Right.
Or unless you fucking Tiger Woods and type shit, but
and then you get invited back or something, but that's it.
Yeah, to practice. But from what I understand, I mean, these are courses that not everybody can play on to just practice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And on the Masters, they only show you like the top things, but there's a lot of people playing, and a lot of people that are like, even though they're playing on the Masters, they're not known. And it's not like they can just call and be like, oh, I want to play in Augusta to practice the course. Like, no, you play it when you come.
You play it when you're a champion. That's it.
Yeah, so
yeah, like could you imagine that? Like they're in the middle of like a Masters or like a champion, and somebody else is just like putting on the next hole over, and they get there, and they're like, well, we're still here, like we're still going on the spot, and he sees like some old guy just like trying to hit the ball, and he like hits it a little bit.
Tee time for 7 p.m. It's like, get the fuck out of here!
Get the fuck.
Fucking ESPN is filming. Yeah. Would you be down if the Broskiedoodles do well in life? Because golf is not a cheap sport. To get the gear, get the looks, get the thing. I would have, I imagine you would like a very Miami golf look. But for us to go, with one of those electric carts, a little cooler filled with Presidente beers and just fuck around and hit the ball.
Wow, like I would be down to ride on a golf cart. I'd be down to get dressed up, but to play golf like a whole like 9 holes of golf, I've never played.
It's
I mean, I'd be down for it,
it's
but I'd
18.
rather do the Top Golf first, at least, and
You
then
know,
do like a.
you haven't done
I've never
Top
been to
Golf
Top Golf
yet?
either. No,
No?
mm-mm.
Oh fuck! I thought you
I've
went
never been
with
to
me
either one.
last time. Okay. All right.
Uh,
Well, we'll go to Top Golf a few times first, but eventually I gotta take you to the big leagues. I played before. Actually, I played quite some golf in the past.
okay.
My dad used to take me back in the day in Miami
Uh
uh,
huh.
to different courses in South Florida. And dude, we I remember we used to go to places where we would pay $15 each, and that would include the 18 holes
Mm-hmm.
and a lunch, which was like a burger and fries. And so,
Really?
yeah, I mean, the courses were like they were more ghetto, but fuck, but
But like here
totally
in
fine.
the U.S.
Yeah, in the US, yeah.
Oh, I'm down.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. No, I mean that was like a long time ago. I'm pretty sure you cannot
Let's
play
say what, like
golf these days. $50 at least each.
$50, even $100. I'm still like, shit. I'll try it once.
No, but dude, I'm saying like, yeah, not only to play soon, but in the future, if I'm able to have good money where I can go to nice courses, I would choose that as a sport to practice because it's actually a really good sport to do for like your body and shit. I mean, if you don't do it like Tiger. But of course, like, who the fuck are we? I mean, that's Tiger Woods. He's trying to get the best shot in the world to fucking win
Yeah.
16 fucking masters in this bitch. Um, I didn't want to really touch race in this because it's not really the most relevant thing, but it was talked about in the doc when he played the first championship that he won in Augusta. Apparently, he got some like racist messages, and it was very like it was important in a way because the contrast, like he's a black man playing there in a place. If I think they said it used to be a plantation, the
Uh-huh.
Augusta field. So that that took part, and also at the beginning when he was becoming something with Nike, they
Hmm.
did like that commercial with Nike that was very racial. Um, what do you think of that?
I mean, it was astonishing to see that the year was, I think it was like 1999, and it was the first time that a black man had ever been to that Augusta field, to the Masters. Like
Oh
as a
yeah.
player, that was the first time that a black player had been to that Augusta field. And to receive the level of I guess racism that he was getting at that time was like, wow, like even at that point in time there was still like that level of racism going on. And I'm assuming that a lot of people weren't happy about it. Had it been a lesser man, he might have succumbed to the pressure and not continued, not played, just because of the racism. But it's Tiger. Tiger had this excellent ability to compartmentalize, his feelings from his work. So like, no matter how bad he was feeling, he had the ability to click and just, pro golfer and then human, pro golfer, human, like a switch, clack, 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 clack. To the point where the tour that he had did with where his dad died. His dad had died. He went to go do another Masters or something like that. I forgot which one it was, and he was like dead locked on winning that championship. You could see in his eyes that they were like empty. And the moment that he knew that he won, that he sunk in that last hole in one, and then there was no way that anybody could beat him, he immediately like just up and bawled and started crying, and he's hugging his caddy and hugging his wife and crying his eyes out because he was just then at that point in time coming to the realization that his dad was never gonna be around to see him succeed or to see him go to these masters, to these champions. So like that feeling was setting in because he had to switch. He switched from emotional human being to golfer. So he had the switch. The moment that he won, blah, the switch just like it just went on its own. He didn't even like actually physically did it, but the switch just went. And bro, like I cried when I saw that. I
Yeah,
don't know about you.
you could feel that when he grabbed that caddy, he was like, fucking, man, that shit felt powerful, bro.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
That was
definitely.
powerful. It's crazy, bro, because that documentary, man, it's one of the best fucking sports documentary I've seen
Mm,
because of the inspiration that I felt from that shit and the emotion, and like you could tell that the caddy had not received that type of emotion from Tiger because he gives him like a normal hug and then you see him like, oh no shit,
yeah,
and
like
Tiger's
he's
like,
trying to, he's even trying to like back away, but he's like, oh shit, I'm still like stuck in here, so let me like give it like a this weird little pat.
yeah, it was like a little pat, and that became like, okay, I got you. But you are right. Like you felt right away that hug wasn't about we won. It was
No,
about the dad,
yeah,
and it was like almost like it was almost like at that moment he was grieving that right then, right?
right. That's what I felt like he's like fuck, like damn, shit, like this is it, this is my life now without my dad.
Yeah, it's crazy that people that are great like that still have normal ass problems you know, like the guy that gives you your meal at Wendy's, which could be me or BJ at any moment in time. We're good with the fast food community. I've been there, done that. But I'm saying like they're not they're not protected of human tragedy or in a human condition, and then later on when you see him fail, right, because of he gets caught driving impaired
Uh,
and all this shit, and
uh-huh.
and they show him in the worst of ways. You're like, like I kind of, even though I thought it was fucked up that they could obtain those records to that show this guy in that way, which I think is fucked. It almost made you feel like, oh fuck, he's human, and I know some people say that takes away from like the heat, the like the character, the person,
the, the
the
legend.
legend, but in a way, it also makes you, if you see it the other way around, it's like this person that's human, like you and me, that fucks up, that was caught on bars, also is a fucking beast at one thing, and he's the best by many fold, or at least at his peak, he was better than everybody by a lot.
Right.
Now when he wins, it's tight.
El tigre.
El tiguerazo. Do
Oh
do
man.
do you think that he'll be able to win the remaining amounts of Masters or
the,
major events that he
the
needs? I think he needs like three more.
I think right now he has to focus on recovering. Um, whatever he went through with the accident. Um, is he capable? Does he have the capabilities, the mental fortitude to do it? Absolutely, without a doubt, he can do it. Will his body be at a level where it'll respond back with the request that he makes? That only time will tell with that one. I think he's definitely capable of doing that and more, and exceeding the amount of wins that anybody has had. Um, I just hope that his body's on the same page.
I am definitely Team Tiger, Team El
Mm.
Tiguerazo, Team
El tigre.
Team
Oh, pero,
hashtag El Cuarto es del Tigre.
pero que la vaina.
And I also think that, I mean, hopefully this accident didn't set him back too much, but before it was almost impossible for him to come back, and they did some surgery on his back. They put some like bionic thing in his back, and now he's fucking chirping like a newborn pigeon. So I believe that along with technology, along with large amounts of money, and his mental fortitude of El Tigre, he's going to come through and not only win the required amounts to match the record, but to exceed it, like you mentioned, and he will become the best in history. And so yeah, and I wanna let Tiger know that we support him 100%. And if he wants to come to the podcast, to let people know about what's going on in his life, and we'll give him that free publicity.
Just catch up. Just
Catch up with the Broskiedoodles, let them know what's going on. We have
just trying to be real.
Yeah, just try to be real. We have a large viewing, and I think we can get you a lot of sales of Nike golf clubs. Once again, thank you to the Broskiedoodles that listen to us every week. Working hard on having a lot more clips coming to you so that you can also see the podcast in clip form if you're not ready to hear me talk shit for an hour. But I do appreciate every one of you. If you haven't, please click on the subscribe button and on the like button as well. If you could comment, that would be great, as that helps the logarithm. It tells YouTube that it's not completely useless to distribute my content in their algorithm. And so yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you, BJ, for chilling with us today and reviewing this.
Always a pleasure.
Peace.
Take care.